Sahi ni very early in the morning, hata president hajakunywa chai State House, lakini asharauka amepost congratulatory message kwa watu wa UDA na ODM. Wajua ni broad based government iko anda yeye, anatuambia one statement, one term ni ndoto, yeye anaenda two term. This by election meant something for him, na ndio maana amerauka kupost. Kwa sababu ingekuwa it doesn't matter, asingepost. Angepost labda huko saa 8, lakini amerauka, amepost political statement ya kutuambia hii one term mnashinda kuimba ni ndoto, yeye anaenda two term. Kwa sababu kama bado chama yake inaweza sweep all over, ODM ime sweep all over, hiyo ni broad based government.
Majamaa mimi ndo bulanda. Hizi belezo zimefanyika. Hizi learning lessons sana sana kwa watu wako nini opposition iko hivi. Chama inafaa kuwa na structure na mko umejipanga kitu hiko. Hamwezi kuenda kwa elections na hata hamna tallying center. Mtaibiwa. Watu machama zijipange mjamaa. 2027 wizi itakuwa juu kama watajipanga. Ai, bulanda.
Mbeere North and Malava constituency. Those are rigged, stolen elections. No one voted for those candidates. No one voted for those candidates. Kenyans, even Kenyans on TikTok. I don't know why you don't seem to understand the script of this administration. You unleash violence, excessive violence. You intimidate people. You bring in people, foreigners. You bring people, government staff, to staff ballots. You control the IEBC. You just change everything. No one voted on Muthende in Mbeere. Can I just say that? Stop making the Mbeere people feel stupid. They didn't vote him. That candidate, Muthende, has been put in there, rigged by the system. It's not the people that voted him. Same case to Malava. Guys, we have to start understanding how elections are done in this country. You must start understanding. It is not what you see. It's not. It's not what you see. That should prepare you mentally of how 2027 is going to look like.
Nasema hivi, mwenye ameuza kura yake leo, kesho agojeke kansa. Akiingia hospitali, tuone kama SHA itafanya kazi. Isipofanya akufe. Sababu hiyo harambee hatukuji. January capitation imepunguzwa, si ndio? From pesa ngapi? 22,000 to 12,000. January akose pesa ya school fees mwenye amechagua serikali. Ni kweli? Sawa sawa. So kama umeuza kura yako, kama unafanyia serikali, it's up to you.
Na kama
shame on you.
Mimi niko na swali.
Yes.
Vile mnasema kitu ya maana sana. Na wengine wao wanajua. Na kama sasa nimeshatoka huko,
mnisikize
wengine kama moyo.
Good. Mnisikize vizuri kuanzia saa hii usiingie gari ya yote hapa, hebu watu waingie binafsi. Nishika hiyo. Watu waingie binafsi. Kama ni gari, waache hapo, mtu asiingie na gari na asiingie na bag. Polling station ikifungwa, muangalie kura zenu. Nishika. Zile vitabu zinatumika huko ni sisi tunalipa. Sio pesa yao. Hizi magari wanakulimisha huko za serikali. Sio za mtu mwingine. Sisi tunalipa. Ni mafuta yetu. Ile mkate unanunua kuna tax. Si ndio? Sio inakulimisha hiyo gari, wanakulimisha huko, wanaenda na msafara. Ni kama wanaenda kupiga kura kwa kila polling station. Umenielewa hapo? Na nimwambia nguvu iko wapi? Iko mashinani. Ukiuza nguvu yako, kwisha. Na nimwambia kwanza mwenye amechagua serikali, kesho ukigojeka kufa.
One thing that disturbs me as an African and a Kenyan is the fact that we have completely and of course deliberately refused to evolve politically, economically and socially. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we've not made progress since we gained independence, since the colonialists left the continent. Don't get me wrong. What I mean is this. We cannot be facing the same challenges that we experienced close to 60 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Where's the progress? And I say this based on the, on the developments which have characterized these by-elections that, we've been having or we're having in this country, in Kenya. Voting, of course, has been taking place, or rather, has been taking place in the better part of today, which is the 27th of November. But look at the scale of violence. I mean, we have refused to learn that history is important. We cannot draw lessons from the past. You remember in 2007 the kind of violence that was there? And it doesn't just stop with 2007. I mean, 1990, even 2017, there was some violence, especially after the elections. Look, in 1997, we had violence in various parts of the country. State-sponsored violence. In 1992, the same thing. Why is the state, why are these folks in government hell-bent on using, violence against the people? Can't we just conduct our elections in a very civilized manner? Do we have a problem in our heads as Africans, as Kenyans, or what exactly is the issue? I don't understand these African leaders when they say, oh, we are for the people. They give all these kind of beautiful speeches, or they unveil all these kind of plans, that the fancy plans that they have for the development of their countries. Yet, they cannot stop killing their own people. Look at Tanzania. Someone decides to butcher civilians with no consequences at all. Imagine, look at Uganda. All these wars you're having and conflicts across Africa is simply because we have demonstrated that we cannot govern ourselves. We simply cannot govern ourselves. On the 26th of November, yesterday, there was a military coup in Guinea-Bissau. Although, from a political risk perspective, I kind of saw it coming, but it simply tells you there is a fundamental problem when it comes to governance in Africa. We cannot govern ourselves. We simply can't. Sometimes I experience nightmares when I'm sleeping, perhaps negatively wishing that maybe we can offer ourselves up for colonialism again. Maybe we can have the second wave of colonialism, because African leaders have already proven that they are worse than the colonialists. There's a very interesting book called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, written by Walter Rodney, I think in the 1970s. Very important in highlighting the issues, historical issues that made African countries not to develop. Of course, from the days of slavery to colonialism and neo-colonialism. But I think those kind of things are those kind of arguments are well overtaken by time and events. One of my long-term projects that I'm working on is a book that will clearly bring out, clearly enumerate, and argue strongly why the case of poor development or underdevelopment in Africa is because of these political elites. The politicians in Africa are the major cause of poor development across the continent. They are not honest with themselves. They are not honest with the people they are leading. And they go on pontificating, giving speeches, speechifying all the beautiful things, grand visions, grand plans of what they have in store for their people. Yet, they do not have the willingness to implement these things. There's a very big problem, not just in Kenya, but across Africa, I tell you. If we can't fix the way we reason, the way we socialize amongst ourselves, forget about these things that these politicians keep on telling us. Like in Kenya, People are wasting our time telling us, oh, you know, giving us narrations of how Singapore got to where it is, oh, Malaysia, oh, South Korea, oh, China. Those guys decided to fix their minds, their software. You cannot fight corruption if your president, if your leaders are corrupt. It can never happen. So I think it will take Africa maybe the next 300 or 400 years to become maybe a first world continent. Otherwise, as of now, I don't see any hope. We simply cannot govern ourselves. We cannot be having wars all over. We keep on blaming outsiders, external forces. Yes, from a geopolitical perspective,
Ati black chocolate ni fine melanin bana kutoka nikapate. Kanapenda kenye mi wanapenda, so kanapenda toto chupa na haga nono.
Madam na kudai umedunga mini na unapenda mangwai. Una dance fit unawacha nikismile ama niko